another episode of Real Estate Renovators, the show designed to help real estate agents navigate through the proverbial shitstorm. And also looking from the weather outside today, maybe just a weather storm as well. What do you reckon,
it's
Rexy?
Horrible, but it's Melbourne. It's going to change in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's not a vibe. I'm going to say it's definitely not a vibe at the moment, but yeah, hopefully it'll change. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my fellow co-host, Rexy.
How are you, Chanel?
Good, Rexy, how are you?
Still in a bit of pain.
Still in a bit of pain from last week's episode?
From my neck's sore for some reason.
Oh, really? Why?
I think a co-host strangled me.
I think I did put you in a headlock. I've been wanting to do it for months. And
Why?
I was just
I'm nothing but nice.
I just have this urge to just punch you in the face.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Someone I don't want to punch in the face, but he is up in the sky. Pistol Pete, how are you, Pete?
Chanel, thank you. And you guys so need to move to Brisbane. We've got sunny blue skies here today.
Oh,
Well,
jealous.
I tried to say I want to come fly up. You said no, you want to fly down before we fly up.
Yeah, well, I need to come to Melbourne.
You do.
You do. Pete, do you ever feel like you want to just punch Rex in the face?
Oh.
I can't say that I do, Chanel, but, I'm not right next to him.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Pete, I think.
a bit hard through Zoom.
Through Zoom. Good.
Thanks, Pete. Let's start the show. Today, we're honoured to have our guest, Rob Groeneveld, with us today. Thanks, Rob, unlike other traditional agents or in this space, has been with the same agency for 16 years and has developed his career with the same agency to the level that you're a partner now in the same agency.
Yeah, as of December 22nd. Yeah.
As of December, wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. So, yeah, really excited to be here.
Let's talk about your journey. How did it all start?
Yeah, it's been a really wonderful journey. I suppose that you've got to kind of go back to my childhood. So when I was a kid, I thought I always had a bit of a salesperson kind of mentality.
How so?
Well, I remember, one story that comes to mind. I was probably 14 years old. My dad was a psych nurse, worked nights. So he comes home Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, and this is back in the day when we had the Trading Post. He said, Rob, the formal dining room, we've got that on, there's like a coffee table. He goes, I put it on the Trading Post. I've got a guy coming to pick it up at 9:30 this morning. I've got to go to bed because I'm working tonight. Can you just show him the table and sell it to him? I've already organised $150. I said, yeah, no problem, Dad, no problem. So the guy
This was at 14.
This is at 14. So, I'm just sitting there watching TV and guy knocks on the door. I said, oh, g'day, Chris, how are you? He goes, oh, no, I'm Matt. I said, I just spoke to a Chris. He said he was going to come and pick this up for $250.
Ah!
He said, I negotiated this with your dad for $150. I said, I'm sorry, mate. He goes, oh, I'm here now. Damn it, I'll take it for $250. And he said, that mattress that's on the nature strip, what are you doing with that? I said, oh, it's for sale for $50. He goes, I'll take that too. So Dad wakes up and, and I said, Dad, here's $300. And he said, well, I only sold it for $150. He said, oh, I sold it for $250 and I got $50 for the mattress out the front. He goes, oh, beautiful. So he gave me the $150. And
Brilliant.
I
Your
was
first
expecting,
commission.
I just always kind of enjoyed the hustle and enjoyed selling. It was just, yeah.
Rob,
so-
I was expecting you to say you had a lemonade stand at the front of your house, but you're a full-on bloody con man.
I used to do all kinds of things, knock on people's doors and wash cars, and I used to sell sherbet sticks at school. I used to go to the milk bar, buy three for 50 cents and then sell them for 50 cents each. So it was $1 profit on each 3 that I bought. So just little things.
Where does this come from?
I don't know. I just kind of always enjoyed it, and it's never really been about the money. It's just been about the excitement of the selling, and I really enjoy the process. So yeah, that's
And how has that converted to your career now?
well.
Let's go back to the start.
Well, back to the start, how I got into real estate is being a traditional Donny boy. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was 16 years old, and walking to the bus stop. So I lived in the Millgate
shopping
estate.
town?
Yeah. So I'm walking up Canopus Drive, and I see this E36 BMW, heritage green, tan leather, M Sport wheels.
Good
And this
memory
gentleman
for
gets out of it in a dark grey suit, and he does one of the most amazing auctions I've ever seen in my life. And his name was Peter Kakos. And after the auction, I walked up to him. I said, Peter, how do I get into real estate? He said, well, take the earring out, take the colour out of your hair, go grab a suit, and why don't you do some work experience? So I sold my Sony Discman and my Shogun mountain bike on the Trading Post. Back then, the Trading Post every Thursday, $1.80. It was the best money you could spend. And I sold that, went to Shopping Town, and I think for $2.99, I went to Casual Guy or one of those and bought a suit, shirt, tie, and I used my school shoes. And I sat in Phil's office when I was 16, and he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, I think I want to get into real estate. And he said, "Can I do some work experience for you?" So I every Saturday when I was 16, I did work experience at Philip Webb and put the boards out and followed the cadets and got a really good feel for the industry, and I just fell in love with it. So that's kind of how I got into.
That's a cool story.
Yeah, it's just it's.
And now you're a partner at Philip Webb.
Yes. So I finished my school, got a job at one of my competitors, and then after 2 years, started back up at Philip Webb. So I was 20, and I was really fortunate to get some property management experience, because I think when
You started at property management.
I actually started as a sales cadet.
Yep.
So I used to clean the back car park, make coffees for people, wash people's cars, do all the kind of small cadet kind of jobs, put the pointer boards out, and then.
And you never complained doing these?
No, because you've got to start somewhere. And I was working with some of the best agents in the eastern suburbs, and
most of them have their own agencies.
Yeah, and just learning. And then I did property management, which was really good grounding to learn the industry and mature. And then a gentleman called Aaron Chua when I was 21 and a half.
He's a great guy, Aaron.
Yeah, so...
he's back at Philip Webb too.
He's back at Philip Webb, and Aaron needed a PA, and I worked for Aaron. And I worked with him for 12 months, and it was one of the best 12 months. I had lunch with him during the week, and we were laughing about 2007. Buoyant market, we did 53 sales, eating McDonald's at 9:30 in the office, going through the highs and lows of winning and losing business and auctions, and yeah, it was really fun. So I got to learn off Aaron, and to this day, I still think he's one of the best agents I've ever had the pleasure of working alongside. So he's a real gentleman and a great operator.
Lovely.
With a journey of 16 years, Rob, you've obviously gone through a lot of ups and downs in the industry, and you've managed to not only withstay the industry, but stay with one agency for such a long period of time. How?
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate in the sense that I got to go to a family-owned business that had amazing leadership. The CEO at the moment is Anthony Webb, who is not only now what I would consider one of my best friends, my business partner, but he's just a real gentleman, and he's a fantastic CEO. But back when I started, I had Phil and really good management, and I surrounded myself through really good people. And I'd never really felt a need of leaving Philip Webb, because I always had the systems, the resources and the support that I could ask for. So there was no real reason. There was always temptation, open up a franchise, go work with a competitor, dangled, certain things. But
you would have been headhunted by...
Yeah, a few times. And I think over the journey, Rex, we had many a discussion. I still remember sitting in your office when you were based in Doncaster, and just kind of nutting out my plan and my future, and you gave me some really solid advice. But I think a few years back, I could see that there was probably an opening for people to buy into the business. And Phil said to me, and Anthony a couple of years back, he said, look, hang in there. We've got plans. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're looking at kind of, opening up that partnership. And December 22nd last year, I went to Phil's house with my wife and my son, and we signed all the contracts, and we had a lovely dinner. And yeah, I feel like part of the family at Philip Webb. It's fantastic. I'm very fortunate to work with great people.
For 16 years.
Yes, yeah, and it's funny because every morning I walk into the office and I talk to everyone, and the first thing I ask is, did you watch Married at First Sight? What did you have for dinner? We always have a laugh, and yeah, it's a really good team environment. They feel like brothers and sisters to me because I've been there so long and work with them, and they do become like family. So
someone else who's part of the furniture here, Rob, literally he is the laptop, has a question. Pete, take it to you.
Rob, through what you've just spoken about, you've actually spoken a lot about you having actually some sort of direction in terms of what your career is going to be in the future. But it sounds like you've also had people there that have actually given you some guidance. Like, is it a combination of leadership and actually having your own drive of where you're going in your career?
Yeah, look, real estate's one of those jobs that you get left to your own device. So like if you are naturally someone that's, you can hide very well in real estate. So, no one's gonna ask you where you are. No one's gonna ask you how long your lunch break was. Real estate's a very flexible job. I can get a haircut anytime I want. You know, I can eat lunch at 2 o'clock or 11 a.m. There's no set lunch break. Like, I always laugh because my wife, you know, she gets morning tea at 11 and they have lunch at 1 o'clock, and, you know, my days are just, so you can, if unless you're very self-motivated and very driven, you can hide a lot in real estate. So we're not a childcare centre. You go there and, you know, what you put in is what you get out. So I was very lucky that I was kind of very driven myself, and I surrounded myself through some really, really good people, not only at Philip Webb, but externally. So one thing that I did very, very early in my career is I thought to myself, well, this is when I was, so going back, I was a PA in 2007, and I was working for Aaron Chua. And this is a bit hard, but my mum got breast cancer. And I remember I had bought a property and all my money was tied up in this unit. And my parents got divorced the same year. And we were renting this house in Devon Drive in Doncaster East. And my mum was going through chemo, and I could just see, we had no ducted heating, it just had a wall unit, and I could see her breath. And I remember thinking to myself, I never want my mum to be cold again. So, and that was September 2007. So I thought to myself, well, I want to go on my own. I want to become my own agent. I want to step up. But no one had really stepped up at 22 at the time to be an agent on their own. So I said to myself, well, I want to surround myself with some of the best people. And I think the best training you can do in any industry, whether in your recruitment, in the building industry, any industry, is search the people that you want to be like, that you admire. And the best, I've been to many seminars and paid thousands of dollars for training. The best training I've ever had has cost me a coffee. So I wrote a list and I caught up with Glenn Cortino, James Tostovan, Scott Patterson, and I was very fortunate at the time. I had some really good senior agents in my office as well. But I took those three out, and I remember sitting with Glenn Cortino, and I said, Glenn, I want to go on my own. I'm driven. I've really got to make this work.
So you initiate this contact with?
Yeah, I rang Glenn Cortino.
And they're from different.
They're not competitors.
Different brands,
They're inner city, and I said, Glenn,
But they're not in your office. They're different brands completely.
And he said, well, shout me a coffee. I said, no, not a problem at all. And so I sat there and I said, Glenn, I really admire what you do. Can I ask you, how did you become so successful? And he said, Rob, I just sold a shitload of real estate. That's it. So I think we complicate the industry a lot with, it's just hustle, grind, and work hard. That's it.
Can I tell a quick story about Glenn Cortino? Yeah. And this is what I think makes him so spectacular. Yeah. I doubt he even remembers me, but I definitely remember him. Actually, he follows me on Instagram, which is, I think, is pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sidetracking here. I spoke to Glenn, I think, once over the phone. I called him to bring him on as a client or offered him recruitment. We had a chat. He was absolutely lovely. That was it. Got off the phone, sent him an email. My email has my office address at the bottom of it. You know, thanks for chatting. If you ever need anything, here's our terms of business, et cetera, et cetera. A week later, I get a package from Glenn Cortino. And it's, hey, it was great talking to you over the phone. This is the album of my son. This is my son's new album. So his son is trying to become is a successful music artist. I think the son's like 14 or something. And I thought, what a marketer. Like, you know, I'll never forget him now. I'll never forget that story. If anyone ever brings up his name, I'll know him. I've now got a 14-year-old boy's CD in my office, sitting in my desk. And I think,
have you listened to it?
I mean, yes. But good that's answer. What makes him so spectacular. He will say yes. His marketing is absolutely insane. So I'm sure if he sent that to me, he would have sent that to every single person on his database. So everyone's got his son's music. It was crazy. It was just like, you can see how he is the way that he is. And he's just this incredible person and like a marketing machine.
He's fantastic.
But even for him to get a call from a 22-year-old agent from a competing office and take the time.
Yeah, and look, I've probably, I was young and I've done a lot of work with Tom Panos, and I'm one of his mentors for his program. So I get young agents from all around Australia ring me. And one thing that I really enjoy now is watching the younger generation really succeed. So especially if the agents are Melbourne based, I always make an effort to sit down and have a coffee with them as well, because I know what it was like when I was young. And you just want to learn and you just want someone to talk to. And so I always try to make time. So there's a coffee shop across the road from my office, and that's where we go. And I'll catch up with a young agent. So
Lovely.
Quick question, Rob.
Pete's-
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go Pete.
Hey, Rob. We have a lot of leaders watch this program, and a lot of them actually talk to us about the churn of salespeople in real estate. If there was 3 things that you would tell a leader on how to foster new talent within their organisation, what would those 3 things be that they should do with all their new talent?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So 3 things that we do, and I think all leaders should do, especially with young talent, is I think agents need to cuddle every so often. I think you need, real estate's really
physically cuddle them?
Yeah, real estate's an up and down kind of job. So I think a good leader will call you. Like our sales managers will. I had a bad day. A couple of weeks ago, my sales manager rang me at 9:30 and said, "Look, Rob, I know you have had a bit of a bad day. I just wanted to check up on you." And I thought that was really good. So a good leader shows that they care. They go in and bat for you. They go through the ups and downs with you. So that's one thing I think a leader should do, is just really be there for their team. Second thing a leader should do is constantly be training their team. So that's something that we really do well at Philip Webb. I do training with our team every Wednesday morning. So we do scripts and dialogues. We talk about processes. We talk about what's working. We learn from the team. So, one of the sales guys will say, "This is working for me," and we learn from that. So I think another thing a good leader does is constantly be training their staff. And I think the third thing a leader should do is be seen and lead by example. Our leaders in our organisation, they're in there early. They're the last to leave. They're at the forefront of the business. So I think if the staff can see you doing all the right things, I think it'll follow, and that's how you build a winning and successful culture, because it starts at the top. Anthony Webb gets in at 7:30 most mornings. I try to beat him, I can't. So the younger guys in the office go, "Well, wow, if the CEO of the business is getting in there that early, then I need to get in early and hustle. If he's up there late, then I need to stay back and do the right things." So I think that's important.
Absolutely. You mentioned, Rob, you catch up with young agents for a coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, I can tell within about 30 seconds of meeting with someone, when I'm interviewing someone for a sales role, if they're going to be successful in real estate.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you can sort of tell straight away if someone has the right characteristics to be a successful real estate agent, and what are those characteristics you look for?
I definitely agree with that. So within the first 30 or 60 seconds, the first thing I know is if they sit down with me and they don't have a notebook or a notepad, I know they're not serious. It's probably a bit of a gripe for me. I've been doing this 18 years. I'll write more notes than anyone else when I go to a training seminar. And someone wants to sit down with me for 30, 60 minutes and ask me questions and not write anything down, then I kind of know they're probably not serious. I think the younger generation coming through think that real estate is kind of fancy cars.
Thank
nice
you.
suits.
This is what I deal with all day, guys.
Yeah. It's nothing like that. So
No.
I get a lot of kind of young
It's
people.
hearing what you said earlier about cleaning cars, cleaning car parks.
I did all that stuff. I interviewed a young guy, and he said, "Oh, so how many holidays do we get a week? What time do we finish?"
I get asked that question. What's the start time? What's the end? What
Yeah.
time do you start? What time do you finish? I think, why are you even asking
real
that?
estate's just not one of those jobs.
No.
Real estate is not about these fancy videos and Instagram pictures and all that. I'm a very vanilla agent. I think I was talking to you off camera about this before, Rex. I'm about the client. It's not me. It's about what we can do for the client. So it's not about the awards that we've won. It's not about our market share. It's about what we can do for the client. It's about the client's journey. So we at Philip Webb are very based on how we sit down with the client, we ask them a whole stack of questions. So our listing presentation is very question based. What's important to you? What do you do to the property? When you're looking at coming on the market, what are you looking for in an agent? What's important to you in the sale of your home besides the highest price? So I think that is really, really important as well. So a lot of young people coming through the industry, I think they don't understand the mechanics behind what we do. It's funny, I had a friend of mine ask me, "So how many homes do you get a month to sell?" I said, no, we've got to go chase business.
Yeah.
We don't get given homes to sell. So it's a lot of prospecting, it's a lot of hard work. So.
It's interesting because when I meet with young agents, I always ask the same question. Talk me through what you think a day in the life of an agent will look like.
Yeah.
People will come into the office and they'll want to sell their house. And I'm like, oh, Is that what, they actually, people don't realize that you have to go out and you have to bring on business. And 100%. I think that's one of personally my biggest frustrations with the industry, and particularly when they're going through their agent's rep, they're not actually told what an agent does and like what day-to-day life looks like, and 100%. That you're door knocking, you're cold calling, you are letterbox dropping. It is hard work. Do you see? Do you? Why?
An agent's rep doesn't make you a real estate agent.
No, but why don't you think?
And if I can make a suggestion to other agents that are maybe thinking about getting into the industry, do your agent's rep and then become a PA. I don't care if you're 20 or 50 and getting into the industry.
I agree.
You need at least 12 months worth of experience, because you're setting yourself up to fail. I was a PA for 12 months. I was a cadet. I was a property manager. I learned all facets of the business and then went on my own. I think that if you are looking at getting in the industry, work along someone that is a good performer, someone that you're going to get training from, learn the industry, and then go on your own. And I see this a lot with a lot of really eager people that get into the industry. They door knock, they telemarket, they do all that stuff. They get into a house with someone that's selling, and then they lose the business because they're not game ready. They don't know what the process is. They don't know how to sell a home.
Correct.
They know how to get into someone's lounge room that might be thinking about selling, but then they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So experience is and learning of someone is really important.
Yeah.
Pete?
Guys, this is a question for both Chanel and Rob. Like, you guys talk about, new people coming to the industry, and it seems that there's like a real focus around them being young. One of the things that strikes me as one of the things that Rob is exceptional about is communication. And I'm just wondering, as an industry, particularly with COVID, why aren't we focusing our efforts around people that actually have a higher emotional intelligence that might actually go with an older candidate? Like, what's your feeling around targeting an older person entering into the industry?
Do you want to answer that first, or?
I could. Yeah. Well, look, it's something that a lot of clients have asked me recently. Can we take someone, particularly from the airline industry, air hostesses, people from hospitality, because they've got this fantastic customer service and really good experience. The problem is the industry doesn't pay well, particularly when you're an entry-level agent. So you're looking at $45,000 retainer. If you're a PA, might be on 43,000 base, small com. It's also 6-7 days a week of work. So you're not working your 9 to 5. And as soon as, when we attract all these candidates and discuss this opportunity in real estate sales, they don't want to follow through with it because they don't want to take a salary cut. They don't want to do the long hours of work. And then they end up taking something in administration. The chances of them going in, I don't know if you've found this as well, Rob, with people that you've spoken to from different industries. Again, the perception when they apply to the reality of what it is so different, and they just won't take the pay cut. That's what I find.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Look, I think I read that the average real estate agent in Australia earns $53,000 a year. So if you're someone 35, 40, 45 on 90 or 100 grand a year, working a job, and you decide to get into real estate, unless you've got some money behind you, or a partner, a husband or a wife or whatever that is also earning an income to help pay the mortgage, I think it's hard to get back into real estate because it takes time.
It takes a few years to really start making anything
definitely
significant. Yeah.
I know agents in our marketplace that have been doing it for 10 years not earning any money. So the reality is that the top 1% make money, the top 5% can make an income, but the rest, it's a hard industry.
And how do you make the top 5%?
I read very early on in my career that there are no secrets to success. You've just got to work harder, work smarter, and want it more than the competitor. And I think if you do those three things, you'll definitely be successful. So I know at Philip Webb, we talk with our team, it's all about working hard, working smart, and wanting it. Having that drive, finding out what your why is, constantly learning and evolving. COVID has changed so much.
How did you guys go through COVID?
For me, because I like the social side of the job, I like talking to my work colleagues and that. I found it very lonely being at home. I found it for 4 months we were at home. I found that lonely. But, if you had have asked me 12 months ago, would I be doing appraisals from my study with a client walking around FaceTiming me? I would have said no. Yeah. But, that's how we did it. So we sold a few properties I remember one property we had in Doncaster East. I said to the buyer, can you ring the vendor at 11:05, FaceTime it, she's going to walk you through the property. So the vendor walked her through the property, Then the buyer then rang me back. I negotiated the sale. We had digital contracts on the iPad, sent it out, signed it. I appraised the property without meeting the vendor. I had never met the buyer. We put it online using photo, and yeah, it was just technology. And I'm not good. I'm not tech savvy. You know, my work colleagues will always kind of laugh at me because I'm not tech savvy at all. But you know, we had to evolve with technology, with digital contracts and everything else like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. What was that, Pete?
Rob, you talk about COVID and we sort of thankfully can see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we might actually have a world where it actually might get a little bit more normal and not have to do anything virtually. What do you see in the next 12 months real estate looking like? Do you see major change happening? Well, what is your sort of prediction of what the next 12 months holds for us in Australia?
I can see the next 12 months being quite a buoyant market. I think if you're an agent working in this market, this is a really good time to set yourself up and work hard. The last 3 years has been really difficult as a real estate agent. 2018, we had the federal election, the market kind of pulled right back. 2019, we had the banking commission, so the market pulled right back. 2020, we had a little thing called COVID. And now the market has really gone buoyant. So I've said to all my team, guys, this is the time where you set yourself up. This is the time where you can really make up for lost time in the last 3 years. So I see the next 12 months being really buoyant for especially the Melbourne property market, and I see the good agents really setting themselves up.
How are you finding stock levels at the moment?
Yeah, so at the moment, like for instance, one of my core areas is Doncaster East. There's 157 properties on the market today in Doncaster East. Usually there's around 220. Because of the lack of quality homes on the market and the fact that you can get 2 years interest rates at say 1.85, that's what's pushing up the market. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to the market if it if more stock comes on. Yep. But yeah, at the moment, selling them is not the issue. It's getting them on. So, and a lot, for instance, I've got a client that says, Rob, I'll come on the market once I buy, but I've missed out on the last 7 auctions. Okay. So we've got a lot of people scared to put their home on the market until they buy. So it becomes this cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Rob, there's a segment in our show. Jason calls it Hammer Time. But it's called Under the Hammer. So we're going to shoot some, I've got to say this really slowly, Rex. If I say it too fast, it can come out really strange. Yeah. Quick fire questions. So we're going to shoot some quick fire questions at you. They're usually scenario questions, just to get to know a little bit more about you. No Rexy, do you want to start?
I always start with what motivates you.
At the moment, what motivates me is seeing others succeed. I'm really enjoying seeing some of the guys in my office really flourish. And I like to think I'm maybe having a small part of that by, getting
Sounds
around
like
him.
a big part.
Yeah, and I just enjoy it. Like last week, we won a listing in Bulleen with a gentleman that I work with, and seeing how happy he was that we went in there and we fought hard and we got it, and I showed him a few little things that I do, and seeing how happy he was. Like at the moment, that's really motivating me at the moment. Seeing others succeed. I don't know. I'm enjoying that at the moment. Yeah.
Pete?
Rob, what is one thing that you couldn't live without?
Besides my family, I couldn't live without coffee.
Here.
You don't want to know me unless I've had my morning coffee. So one thing I can't live without is coffee. And my wife in December bought a really good coffee machine, and she's a world-class barista. So yeah, coffee in the morning,
and
can't live without.
Too, isn't she?
Sorry?
And a vet.
Yeah, she's a vet nurse. She's a vet nurse, but she's become a world-class barista with this machine. So Ranchilio coffee machines, I can't recommend them enough. So they're good.
There you go. Yeah. Similar to you, Rex, but yours is an espresso martini, not
It
just
is.
a
I
coffee.
like a great espresso martini.
Gets him right up. All right, Rob, if you weren't selling houses, what would you be doing?
I'm a bit of a car enthusiast, so...
Not a car salesman, come on.
No, I'd probably like to be doing something with maybe car detailing products. I like to wash my car. I like,
You're a born entrepreneur. You
I
cannot
know.
be detailing cars.
No,
I want to be like Gary
I'm
Vee. You're going to be like this,
I'm a simple
entrepreneur.
boy. I'm a simple boy. So, I honestly, for years, I dreamt of working in a car wash. I'm a simple
Big
man.
aspirations.
So, yeah, if I wasn't selling real estate, if I could somehow earn a living cleaning cars or talking to people about car cleaning products, that's probably what I'd do.
Car washes make good money.
I know. At night when everyone's asleep, I'm on YouTube watching reviews on on Turtle Wax or Maguire's products. I'm a closet car cleaning nerd, so there's a little bit of something about
worse
me.
things you could be in the closet about than cars. It's very weird, but sure. Rexy, another question.
Keep the cars. Ford or Holden?
Well, I've got a Concourse restored VNSS, so I'd have to say Holden, but I've had a lot of Fords in the past, so yeah, Holden at the
You
moment.
converted.
Yeah.
Pete?
You get to come back as an animal in your next life. What animal would you choose?
Geez, probably a dog. I see the love and attention that my dog gets at home.
gosh.
So he's above me in the pecking order at home. So if I could come back as an animal, it'd be a dog and a cavoodle. So they don't shed hair. So yeah, I'd come back as a cavoodle.
You should have heard what one of our previous guests was talking about with her dog.
I
got the gist
We'll
of
shoot to some footage of it, won't we, Shab? We're going to cut to some footage of that right now. No, we won't. We would get axed. You can have dinner with one person, living or dead. Who would it be?
Oh, look, there's so many people that I'd love to have dinner with, but at the moment, Jordan Peterson, I'm really enjoying a lot of his videos and YouTube and stuff like that.
Listen to him.
I don't know if it's his voice or what it is, but I could listen to him for hours.
Yeah.
So maybe Jordan Peterson and kind of pick his brain a little
Can
bit.
I fire one back? Tony Robertson or Jordan Peterson?
Jordan Peterson.
That's
and I've done Tony Robbins.
I love Tony Robbins.
I love
Did I say Tony Robinson? Tony Robbins. I'll correct myself.
I think I get, at the moment, I'm getting a little bit more out of Jordan, but I've done the course, I've firewalked, I've done all that.
Oh,
so
have you?
Did a firewalk. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I was young. We did it up in Sydney, and
As part of the Philip Webb brand?
no. I
yourself?
did it on my own. So I did it with one of the guys I work with, and we were there till like 1 a.m.
Wow.
It's full on.
Yeah.
So, but
I
no,
want to
it's good.
marry Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Good
tall.
for you, but
I mean, that's all right. Yeah, he's tall. There we go. It
tall.
would be great. Okay, that's enough quick fire questions, I think, Rex.
that is enough quick fire questions. Pete, did you have a question?
I've got one more. What is the strangest, oddest food that you've eaten, Rob?
Oh, that's strange.
And odd.
Yeah, I can't really think. I think I've had
Carlax?
crocodile before. No, I've had crocodile before, so I tried that. So that was many years ago. So that's probably the strangest thing. But I'm not that adventurous when it comes to food. But yeah, crocodile. I think crocodile meat.
Crocodile.
Cool. Rob, in the last, 16 years in real estate?
Yeah.
16 years in real estate. What's been the biggest struggle for you? It's been one of the hardest moments in that career where you really thought you'd hit rock bottom. And how did you come out of it?
If I can be perfectly upfront, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it, it's probably been mental health. In my late 20s, I remember walking into the office. I was probably 27, 28. I walked into the office, and my sales manager at the time, he said, "Oh, Rob, how are you?" And I broke down in tears. I was so stressed. I had so many things going through my head. And Phil pulled me aside, and he said, "Tomorrow morning at 8:30, there's a car going to pick you up, and we're flying you up to Golden Door." So I did a week at a health retreat, and we did a lot of meditation.
And he organised that.
He organised it for me.
Wow.
And then when I came back to Melbourne, I started catching up with someone and just talking about the things that were going through my head. But I think mental health for me in my late 20s has probably been my biggest struggle in real estate. So I've probably been my biggest enemy. I'm really hard on myself. I'm very process driven. And so yeah, I think in my late 20s, mental health was probably my biggest struggle. So,
And how do you stay on top of that now?
well, I always tell people my wife saved my life. So I met her when I was 28, and she is very relaxed and chilled. And so that kind of brought me down. And I've got a 3-year-old son that just gives me so much joy. And so at the moment, I'm in a really good place. I've got a wonderful and beautiful family. I've got a job that I love. I've got great family, great friends around me. So that keeps me kind of up and about. And whenever I'm having a bad day, I only have to walk, get home and see my son standing at the window and what is he? He goes, "Oh, I want to show you something, Dad. I want to show you something." And we wrestle, and yeah.
Is he into cars now too?
Loves cars.
Is he
loves
helping you wash the
and
cars?
animals. Yeah, so he loves washing cars, loves going to car shows with me. So
Thank you for sharing that, Rob. I
Yeah.
think it's really important not just to talk about mental health, but men's mental health, because it's something that I think Australia's starting to talk a lot about. But for men, it's much more difficult to speak up and to own it, particularly in an industry that's very much ego driven. And I think a lot of, and I hate to bring this up, but it's something that really needs to be addressed. The industry, it's high pressure. It's extremely demanding, both physically and mentally, and at times it's difficult to deal. And I see a lot of what could have been brilliant directors go down really dark paths with their mental health and not having the right people, surrounded by the right people, and not having the confidence to speak out. And I think, unfortunately, this is where drugs plays a big part in this industry that unfortunately can tarnish it in a lot of ways. So what advice would you give to potentially other directors who might not have the network around them like you did when you were going through a tough time? What can they do, and who should they speak to?
Well, you know, I'm very fortunate that I've got really good people around me. So, but if I was a director and I didn't have that network, I'd go see your GP, get a mental health check. I would reach out to people that you would like to be mentored by, other people that you admire in the industry. It's not weak to speak. Go speak to people.
I like that. It's not weak to speak.
And try to get that network around you, because until you get it off your chest, and you know, in my 20s, I was just always very anxious and stressed and wanted to be better. And just until someone said, Rob, just do you, just do just little things and tweaked, and I feel so much better for it. So if I was a director in that position, I'd just reach out to people that I admire and get the help. So it's definitely...
It could be anyone, doesn't have to be a director.
Nah.
It could be from
So
recruits onwards.
it's funny because I look at social media, Facebook and Instagram, and it's so easy to compare yourself.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You look, oh, this person's got the perfect life, this person's got that. You know, I know someone that posts all these photos, and you would think their life is amazing, but they're not. They're not happy. So don't compare. It's very easy. That's my biggest thing. I've got a client of mine whose daughter is anorexic, and she reckons it's because of social media.
Oh,
and you know, that's I talk about this with my wife. I said, how lucky were we when we grew up that we didn't have Instagram and Facebook.
It's really interesting, Rob. I was having this conversation with my mum over the weekend, and we were talking about sort of growing up, you know, as young teenagers, you go through this really dorky time.
Yeah.
Rex is when you wore your blue eye contacts.
Yeah.
And blonde hair.
But I remember I went through this time and I had braces, I had, you know, freckles everywhere, and I just had this horrible haircut, like a bowl was cut on my hair. That was horrible.
You were from Geelong, though.
Yeah. Right. And I just remember I got this, it sounds so ridiculous, but I got this haircut. It was absolutely hideous, and I had this long, beautiful hair, and I was just so upset about it, and I was crying, and, you know, it really tore me up as a 13-year-old girl that this haircut had affected me so much. I was saying to my mum, I couldn't imagine if I was going through this and then I had social media amplifying it, seeing every other 13-year-old my age, comparing myself. I'm not skinny, I'm not pretty like her. When we're not mature enough to know that these images are perfectly curated images, they're not real life.
No, definitely.
And my mum said something to me that really stuck with me. And she said that, you know, there's so many unhappy children and people in the world because of comparison. And it's the really small things like, you know, my mum said that when she was young, you know, say they would have a night out. It was a whole experience. It was this joy of going to the shops and finding an outfit, and then, you know, having friends come over and getting ready, and then going out and having this big night and this excitement. Whereas now, with, you know, the beauty of the internet is that we've got options, but also the most stressful thing about the internet is one button, you open up to this whole world. And you're not just in your own bubble where you're exposed to small parts of your life. You're exposed to this whole universe, and there's so much to compare. And, you know, it's so stressful now, and particularly with young agents as well. They're going on social media. They see the next agent listing more, and this agent's doing this, and this agent's doing that. And no one knows who they are because they're so busy comparing. Do you see that with young agents and young people?
Definitely. If I can make a suggestion, especially a lot of the younger agents coming through that are pushing social media hard, please don't post a photo in front of your BMW. Please don't post a photo. No one cares. No one cares. So just be real. It's not about you. It's about the client.
Yeah.
So we don't want to see the flashy stuff. No one cares about that. You know, in fact, real estate agents already have a bad enough name in terms of that stuff. You don't need to amplify it by, you know, putting it on your social media. But you only have to go out and see people taking photos of their food. I was reading a study that, at concerts you see everyone filming
Yeah.
the concert.
No one's enjoying it.
No, well, they actually reckon that you enjoy it more and you remember it better if you put your phone away and actually just be present.
No doubt.
So
There was this meme, and it was like the 60s, they were at a concert and they were doing this, and then it was like the 70s and they were all doing this, and it was the 80s and they're all doing this, and it was like the 2000s, whatever it is, and they've all just got their phone.
yeah, it's terrible.
And you look at it and you're like, this is so sad.
I went out for dinner 2 weeks ago, and my wife and I and Felix, my little boy, and the table next to us, there was 2 adults, 2 kids. All of them were on their phone.
Oh, it's horrible. I
All
put
of
mine
them.
away. Pete, you have a question?
Rob, what comes to mind when you talk through this session today is that you have a really balanced life. You have a wife, a son, and you have a successful career. How do you balance all that? Like, there's a lot of young guys that are, in a new relationship, maybe wanting to have kids. How have you successfully have it all? Because that's something when you're driving for high performance can be challenging to balance personal and work.
Well, look, I personally think that when I was working 6 days, I was miserable and started hating my job because I was just exhausted all the time. I've now worked 5 days. I make Fridays all about my son. So if a client rings me and goes, "We're selling, come see me Friday," it's like, no, I can't. It's you can see me another day. So I think having balance, you need to work on it. I spent my whole 20s trying to build my business, and now I think I'm fortunate in the sense where I can work 5 days. I think you need to prioritize it because you end up hating your job. Like now, today's a Sunday. Tomorrow's Monday. I'm not dreading going to work. I'm actually really excited because I try to have that break. I try to make Tuesdays the day that I come home early and have dinner with the family because I know Wednesdays and Thursday nights I get home late. So I don't know, you just try to make it work. You plan for it.
There's a big exodus from the industry right now, though, Rob. I've seen it from my end, from the recruitment end, is that there is such a huge desire to leave the real estate industry.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has been that agents throughout COVID had the time to spend at home with their families. And now going back to an industry that is so demanding, they're struggling, and there's more than ever agents approaching us wanting to leave the industry. Do you think it's cause or it's time for the industry to really shift and change how it promotes work-life balance in real estate, or do you think it should stay the same?
I just think agents should get more organised. I think agents, it's not about the time that you spend at the office. It's the work that you do in that time. So when I'm at the office, I'm there. I'm working. I'm not fluffing around. I'm not. So you don't need to be staying back. You don't need to work 7 days a week. It's just work hard, work smart.
And
so
I've got everyone knows I've got a daughter, and I have specific 2 days a week.
100%.
Half day, I'm with her.
I've
No
never
matter
had
what,
a
if I
client
got
say to
caught
me,
or anything, and if I got feeling that work, I'll do it afterwards, after she goes to bed or whatever the case may be.
mate, they're only young ones.
Yeah, and you're going to miss out, and it's the most
100%.
important thing.
So I was in the car on Friday, and I had Felix in the car, and a client rang me, and Felix started singing. The client laughed. They know it's
It's life.
It's human.
I think
we're not
post-COVID
robots.
as well, it's brought to the industry, it's brought life. People relate to real people and real scenarios, and we were all introduced to Zooming from each other's lounge rooms where there was a dog barking or a baby crying or a wife coming out and yelling, or what was that guy with the boxer shorts and the child came in, and it's real life. And I think that sales is now changing from this transactional or formal relationship to genuinely liking the person that
100%.
you're working with.
No, I agree.
Speaking of genuinely liking people that I work with, unlike you, Rex, I do like Pete. And there's a special time. Pete, what happens during this time? What do we say? He transitions from, I don't want to use caterpillar to butterfly. I feel like
a
it's
good
been
transition.
done. It's when the bees come together and make honey. This is when Pete
Make
comes
honey,
to life.
Pete. Make honey.
Make honey, Pete. Pollinators, Pete.
Chanel, you're making this sound like a Mardi Gras section of our show. Butterflies, the whole bit. It's actually Pete's cheat sheet that I'm going to do, everyone. It's called Pete's cheat sheet. So anyway, this week's Pete's cheat sheet is all about communication. I think in today's session, we've spoken a lot about how communication can help in your career, your personal life, and we're actually going to have a checklist that's going to help you all about communication. Back to you, Chanel.
Thanks so much, Pete. Rob, I felt like this episode has flown, and honestly, I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
You've got a really realistic and genuine approach to the industry. And I think from the start of the segment right till the end, we can see that you are genuine. You really love the industry, and you've really brought something. I think you're what the industry should be like, grounded,
and you give back
successful.
so much to the
Yes.
industry.
Yeah, I try. Yeah.
Correct. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, Rob.
Pleasure to be here. And if
you for
anyone,
coming
I know you've got a wide audience, and if any other agents want to reach out, they can email me or call me. Just ask Rex for the details, and I'm happy to.
No, Rob, they
kind of
call me because
talk
that's
to
how
you.
I make money.
Okay.
That's how I make money. They call me. No, I'm kidding, guys. Thanks for being on the show. See you next week, guys.
Thanks for coming.